Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Fearless Generations with Terry Sayer and Kelly Fox.
Hello and welcome to Fearless Generations, 12 Steps to Freedom. I am Kelly Fox, and I'm excited to be here with you tonight. We are talking Step 6, Present Moment, and tonight the topic is intuition. Super excited to get this conversation going, so let me introduce my beautiful co-host, Terry Sayer. How are you doing tonight, Terry?
I'm doing well. Just got home from visiting a friend that's here from Texas. We had a nice visit, and I'm back at home.
Awesome. We love good days. I'm excited to bring on our guest coach tonight. She is one of our besties, and we're excited to have her on the show. So please welcome Tracie Root.
Hi, everyone.
Yay.
Yay.
Hello.
Hi, honey. It's so great to be here. I love being on your podcast. I love that, there's so much goodness and consistent messaging that the two of you are bringing to the world. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Aww, thank you. Well, please, Tracie, remind the audience, what is it that you get to do and who is it that you get to serve?
Oh, so excited. I love how you postured that with what do I get to do. I get to talk to people all the time, and the people that I'm usually talking to are women who are in business, usually solopreneurs or entrepreneurs who are relatively early in their business journey. In my coaching programs, typically we're talking about up-leveling, setting really solid goals, being, clear and consistent and accountable with what we want and how we're going to get there. And then I also am the founder of the Gather community, which is a community of entrepreneurial women where we support them with online events and promotion and sponsoring workshops and speaker events, and really try to hold them up as the experts in their fields and get more people in their audience and more eyes on their content so that they can grow their businesses. And I've been doing this work for about 10 years, which is hard to believe. This specifically for about the last 5 years. So it's a very exciting kind of anniversary coming up here in April for me. I think that'll be 11 years, which is wild to think about and super exciting.
Yeah. Well, awesome. We're so glad to have you here. We love the Gather community. And it's really lots of really amazing women, and happy to be a part of your circle.
Yes, I love having you guys in the circle. So much fun.
Yeah. So present moment, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so in preparation, I was thinking about this, and I think that there's kind of two other words that feel synonymous for this for me. And one of them is grounded, like feeling in the world, right, of the world. And the world, of course, has ground, so touching the earth and being having feet on the ground. And the other thing is, with the idea of trying to block out the noisy part of the world in order to recognize what's happening in the present moment. So a little bit of groundedness, a little bit of kind of in your body, not swirling around above your own head, and a little bit in the quiet so that you can actually hear yourself think and think about what you want to do in the world.
Yeah, I love that. How does intuition play into that?
Well, I think we can't hear our intuition, the little voice in our head. We can't hear it unless we're quiet, unless we're able to silence or dim down the crazy, the chaos that is either around us in the world or swirling around in our own heads. So in order to get to that intuition, we really have to kind of kill the noise in order to be able to hear it speaking to us.
I love that. I can just hear the gears in Terry's head, going when you said quiet, because that's something that she talks about a lot. So, Terry, what's going on? What are the thoughts coming to you?
Yeah, I love that, Tracie. I really depend, at this stage of my life, I've learned to depend heavily on my intuition. And I do so and have become more dependent on it because of my life experiences. And when I pay attention, so I have to be listening in order to pay attention, right? I feel like I have this constant companion that can assist me in staying grounded in the present. But the thing that I really rely on my intuition is to prompt me in the present moment. And then my personal responsibility is to act upon that prompting. So for me, it's my word for this year is action, because I get lots of promptings that I don't act upon, and I feel like that process of not acting upon the promptings diminishes my access to my intuition. It's like, and for me, my intuition is very much tied to my spirituality, and so I feel like, I'm getting all these really amazing, inspiring thoughts. And when I follow through on them and I take action, it seems like I get more of them. And I'm guided more by my spiritual nature than my head, because my spiritual nature lies more in my heart and in my soul. And then I'll start getting in my head if I'm not taking action on that intuition. And then I'll start to slip back into the past and start to blame and make excuses based upon past experiences rather than staying in the moment and following my intuition. Yeah. And that also keeps me from worrying about what's going to happen later, because I'm listening, I'm being attentive, I'm taking the time to be quiet enough to hear the intuition and those promptings. I call them promptings. And that to me is a process that really propels me forward to take action in the moment and makes a impact on my future, because I am being in alignment with my spirit, and that takes me on the path that's going to keep me aligned with my spirit, if that makes sense. Yeah, so it's that, for me, the present moment can be totally attached to my intuition, or it can not be. It's my choice. And I really choose to be aware of, quiet enough to hear, and then take action on my the prompts that I get. So that's what was going around in my brain at the moment.
I think as you talked about things being aligned, that really started to ring true. Like when I said grounded, I think it's also like it's synonymous in a way with like centered and aligned and in yourself, right? So when I said grounded, I talked about the ground itself, but really it's that center of yourself that is kind of anchored to whatever you see is truth, right? Whether it's the truth of your thoughts or the fact that you're here on this planet, or the ways that you see things in the world. And when you have all of that kind of, I keep imagining this visual of like this swirling around, and at the center of that swirling is that core. And that's the same thing that's in the center of us, whether it's our heart or the center of our soul or whatever, however you want to imagine it. And as long as we can remember that that's there and it's not spinning, it's solid. And that's like, I think, where that little voice of intuition comes from, because it's quiet, and it's that little still voice inside of us that's guiding us toward that next step.
I love that. That's exactly what I call it, a small, still voice.
Yeah.
And if you're not listening, you're not going to hear it. So it also takes space, right?
Yeah, it has to be so intentional, because especially these days in the world, right? It's just, there's so much information, there's so much chaos, there's so much division, there's so many, don't watch the news. Like, there's just so much out there that can distract us from what's real for us personally. And and that's the swirling, is all of that messaging that we get from every source on the whole internet, the whole planet.
Well, yeah.
And that's why it's called the World Wide Web, right? It's the whole everything. And if we can get to the center of that, where, that's all orbiting that center. And when you get to the center, you've got that calm place in the middle. That is the one thing that's constant.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different strategies to get there. And, the idea that we can be quiet all day long is ridiculous. I mean, we can't. So we have to find those moments within the day that we can connect with that still small voice. And that has to be, that can be intentional as well. And whether you meditate or you take a walk or you, however you connect to that, that's important to help you understand that. And then as we work with our clients, to help them understand how they can find those times or those moments of quiet in order to hear that intuition.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I work with. Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
I was just going to say, what is one of those tools that you use to support your clients with being present and
coming up a lot.
Their intuition?
Yeah, this has been coming up a lot lately, I think, because, having been in the pandemic, and just everyone's still trying to navigate how to come out of this in a way that feels authentic to them and feels like it's a forward move for them, right? There's still a lot of kind of back and forth, and how can we find the ability to make a decision that's forward-looking? And so really I always start with meditation. I personally have the actual tool, like the web thing, the internet thing, the app that I use is Headspace for all of my meditation, because I think it's a really great faceted way to look at meditation. They have so many different options and tools and themes, and if you're struggling with X, Y, or Z, they've got something for it, and all the rest of the alphabet too, and simple breathing too. So they kind of have everything that I've ever heard of anyone looking for. Oh, you want something on anxiety? Here you go. You want something on sales? There you go. You want something on family relationships? There you go. Like, it's everything. So I always use that. Even if it's only 3 minutes, it helps. Even if it's only 5 breaths in the morning, it helps. In fact, just this morning, I put on my headphones because my husband was in the adjoining room just kind of hanging out. And so I put on my headphones so I would be just me, and they have like a little morning routine type of thing on Headspace that they offer you. And the first thing that is 5 deep breaths. Kind of box breathing, right? Deep breath in, hold it, deep breath out, hold it. And I did it, and I found myself getting distracted by like the second breath. And so I actually went through it twice. But as soon as I just took that breath, and like even just thinking about it now, I feel different in my body. The energy changes. Our actual like nervous system changes just by taking those breaths. And so it just shows you how a little bit of intention can really have a huge impact on the moment or the day or your life. And then the other thing that I do, that I talk about with my clients is, when we're talking about intuition, is really coming up with what is it that you're imagining for yourself, and try to help them tune in to the little voice that sends them a wish or a dream. And I always end my workshops with the phrase, "You are worthy of the dreams you dream," because I think that people forget that if a dream's been put in you, back down in that center, and you eventually can figure out how to access it, like, it's there for a reason. And that's your intuition telling you that this dream that you have is for you. Now you have to start working on figuring out how to get it, or move towards it anyway, in order to discover more about the little wish that's inside your center. So I think that, using that breathing exercise tool, and also really recognizing that any dream that you have is yours to go after, and it's there because your intuition and the universe put it there for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that.
I feel like go ahead, Terry.
Go ahead, Kelly. No, go ahead.
I think that we are all here for a reason, and when we can stay present and listen to our intuition, it becomes more clear what that reason is. And I think that we can also be here for multiple reasons. I don't think it's just one thing. And I think that when we listen to our intuition and we step into what it's calling us forward to do, it just increases. Our ability to create change for our life and the lives of those around us in the world increases as we step into our intuition, as we live moment by moment by moment. And, like I have 6 reasons in my house right now of why I'm here and what I'm supposed to do. But that's not all I'm here to do, right?
Right.
I'm here to affect more than 6 people. And I think that is true for all of us. And so maybe it's not going to be thousands, but it's going to be more than 6. And so am I willing to step into my intuition and share what I have with more people, or am I going to kind of hide my light under a bushel, right? So, staying in the present moment and being willing to listen and step into that intuition is a huge step. And, there's little steps that we can do to lead ourselves up to that. And one of them is definitely being quiet and listening. So I love that you both talked about that, giving yourself time to hear that voice and then gaining the courage to step into what it's asking of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And go ahead, Terry.
Well, I was just going to say, I like thinking about the breathing, and I'm going to look up this app, Headspace, because when we do that, when we take a breath, when we, maybe we just look around us at our surroundings, or we, I did the PQ thing where you actually, you just start rubbing your fingers together, or I put my hand on my heart and I feel my heartbeat. All of that grounds you. I mean, when you talk about grounding and centering, just getting into your body will, help you then to be in the present, because you can only be in your body in the present, right? So it really helps you to get that willingness to be alive and present at that moment if you just, get in touch with your body in some way.
Totally.
And so I really like that you talked about that. And breathing is just such a simple way to do it, and it works. I mean, I immediately have a visceral reaction when I stop and take a breath.
Yeah.
You can't do anything else. It just takes you there. Yeah.
Right. And that's why I like using Headspace because, you know, the guy who founded this app, he used to be like a high-powered, you know, executive type guy, whatever, and he left to go become a monk. And so, you know, a Buddhist monk or whatever, and then he came back and he founded this based on becoming a Buddhist monk and what meditation really is. And I think it's really great for people who say, I can't meditate, I can't quiet my mind, because it teaches you that that's not what it's about, first of all. And then the other thing that was coming to my mind is, you know, the things that can remind us to do this are everywhere. And, you know, so if we can put it into a routine, you know, in the morning, midday, evening, whatever is great. But I think the other thing that really helps is just to kind of be on the lookout for signs, for lack of a better term, or messages. I got a card, you know, I got this cute card as a gift the other day, and on one side it says, life wants me to be happy. And right there, that's a thought that is just like, life wants me to be happy. And it gets you thinking. And on the other side it says, happiness is your natural state. Life wants you to be happy. What is life teaching you about true happiness right now? And so this question just makes me stop and like center to answer it, because you can't answer it out of the chaos. You have to stop and go, what is life teaching me? How do I access this information that's only in my body? You know, the whole embodiment thing, I used to really, really struggle with it years ago, and I think I started kind of on the realization that that's what was missing for me about 5 or 6 years ago. And I remember like going to someone's course, and, you know, this is where getting help comes in, people suggesting practices or things that they've worked with other people. So this coach that I was aware of, she was doing what she called somatic, you know, exercises, which means in your body. And I was just like, that, like, I don't ever do that. And so I started small and started with, and that was the beginning of the journey of understanding that when you can not stop the swirl, but go inside it to where it's swirling less, and maybe even to where it's not swirling at all, then you can find out what you actually are thinking. Because otherwise it's everyone else's thoughts.
That made me think of the eye of the storm. You know, there's that in those storms, there's that center that's calm. And just the way you were describing that, it flashed in my mind about, here's the storm swirling all around, but in the center is that calm place, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's totally what I envision when I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of hurricanes, so I understand the swirl and the you know, carefulness of being in the eye. I love the conversation and where it's going tonight. We are running out of time, and so I want to take a few moments to have Tracie tell the audience where they can get a hold of you, and if there's anything else that you would like to share to them.
Well, I think probably the best place to get a hold of me is either at my website or on Facebook. I'm a big Facebooker. Anyone who already knows me knows that. You can find me on Facebook for sure. Just make sure you spell Tracie with an I-E, root. And I also have on my website, which is tracieroot.com, a links page. So it's /links, LINKS. And so at that page, basically you'll find ways to reach me, like my social links, different events that are coming up, things about my programs, the GABA community memberships, like I kind of try to make it a one-stop shop. for anything that I have to offer, whether it's entrepreneurs looking for support or people who are potential clients of mine who are looking for help in growing their business. I have free workshops all the time. We've got events with the Gather community all the time. So there's all those links are there, as well as the opportunity to look at my short group programs or one-on-one coaching or whatever might be of interest to your listeners.
Awesome. Yeah, and please post that in the Facebook group so that the listeners can have easy one-click access to you.
100%.
And Tracie is also on the Fearless Generations website under guest coaches. So you can find her information there as well. But we want to thank you so much, Tracie, for being here with us tonight. And if there is just one thing that you want the listeners to take away with them tonight, what would it be?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I always want to make sure that people realize that whatever dream is inside them, they're worthy of that dream. I find that most women tell themselves they can't, or it's not possible, or this thing that they've imagined, it can never be. And it's just not true. If it's something that your little intuition voice said to you, there's a reason for it. And you owe it to yourself to at least investigate how to look at it more deeply. And, working with a coach can definitely help you with that. Connecting to people who are supportive and care about you and can also help. So that might be friends, that might be, coworkers or associates, it might be family, but it might be someone that you haven't met yet. And so keep going and connecting with people who uplift you, and you'll find your tribe, for lack of a better term. I got to figure out what word I want to use in that statement, but you'll find your community, and by connecting to that community, you're going to find the way to your dream.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. And I love saying you have full permission to shine. And I feel like permission, we definitely can get into a place where we're waiting for permission to do something. And, we have full permission. And I love that. That made me think of that. So, well, thank you so much. You are so awesome.
Thanks, Tracie.
We're so happy to have you here. We want to remind you all that. We want to remind you all that the 12 Steps to Freedom were created by Rhonda Britton, the CEO and founder of the Fearless Living Institute. And you can find out more about Fearless Living at fearlessliving.org. You can find out everything about Fearless Generations at fearlessgenerations.org. You can go there and you can find everything you want to know about Terry and I and all the things that we offer. And we have all of the past 8 seasons there if you want to go and listen to what we said 2 years ago about intuition and present moment. All there for you. So we also have a workshop coming up next Monday. So please reach out or go check it out on virtual events. And we're going to be talking all about no excuses. So definitely want to check that out. So Terry, last little tidbit that you want to share?
I just listen. Find those moments, those present moments that you can be still and you can listen to your intuition, because it's there to bring you happiness. It's there to bring you joy, because that's what we were created to have. So just kind of like that card that Tracie got reminded me that man might have joy. And so that's
love it. All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much. Until next week, everyone, be fearless.
Be fearless. Thank you, Tracie.
Bye.